women of the WWE gave it their absolute all in this historic first ever all-women's pay-per-view, and for the most part it was a success and a solid event, but of course like any other WWE pay-per-view, it wasn't flawless. There were some missed timings and some dodgy looking spots, but you might not have caught all of them. So in this video we look at 7 mistakes and fails you might have missed at WWE's Evolution pay-per-view. Number 1. Sold out? Whilst this was a historic night for the women of WWE, there was much debate during the weeks leading up to the pay-per-view that WWE didn't present enough hype and were concentrating their efforts more on the crown jewel pay-per-view. Due to the lackluster build of the pay-per-view and WWE's lazy booking, WWE were experiencing slow ticket sales and a number of tickets were still unsold Sunday morning. Nevertheless, lead announcer Michael Cole mentioned at the beginning of the pay-per-view that it was quote-unquote sold out. However, Twitter was telling a much different story, as during the opening tag match between Team Bestie and Mickie James with ALICIA Fox, Twitter user @BTuckerTorch snapped a photo of the crowd looking a little thin and mentioned that it was about 65% full in some areas. This could explain why WWE dimmed the lights for the duration of the show, hiding any empty seats in the Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum. Unfortunately, its setting of low lights and minimal stage design gave the pay-per-view a little bit of a house show feel. Number 2. Where the hell is ALICIA Fox? It's a shame that we didn't get the dream encounter between Alexa Bliss and Trish Stratus, as Evolution's opening match would see a last-minute replacement of ALICIA Fox. But finally, it was Fox's time to shine, and let's be fair, she did a decent enough job in the match, even though she might have entered the ring a little too hard. As Lita flipped her over the top rope, she accidentally hit her leg on Lita's back, which forced her to sell it even though she was on the offensive. But this was minor in comparison to her biggest hiccup, as after Stratus hit the Stratusfaction on her longtime foe Mickie James, she covered her for the pin. It was clear that she was only supposed to garner a near fall, as the referee was ready to break the count when it was Fox's cue to break up the fall. However, ALICIA Fox missed her cue by a good 2 seconds, leading to the referee noticeably hesitating to make the 3 count. By the time Fox got in the ring to break it up, the ref could have counted to 5. Funnily enough, the WWE cut to a different angle on the network edition, making sure that the ref's lagging count was cut out from the shot. Number 3. Messy head scissors. The battle royal to decide the number 1 contender for the Women's Championship saw a number of past female wrestlers dust off their wrestling boots to climb back into the ring. We assumed that there would be some obvious ring rust, but we have to commend them, as they didn't skip a beat. However, there were a few hiccups made by the women on the current roster. After a dance break, Carmella and Ember Moon would clash. Mella would attempt a tilt-a-whirl head scissor takedown on Moon, but she couldn't quite lock her legs around Moon's neck. Since she was unable to lock it in, it led to an awkward moment where Moon was just cradling Mella as the two were unnecessarily spinning around. Cole, who usually manages to explain a number of mishaps during a match, didn't have anything to say other than it being rather unique. This was probably code for what the hell was that. Number 4. Can someone check on Zelina Vega? Former WWE Women's Champion Nia Jax was a dominant force in the match and eliminated several WWE superstars, but it all came down to her, Ember Moon, and the elusive Zelina Vega as the last remaining 3. Vega, who is still in the Battle Royal, stepped back in during the last few moments of the match to attempt to eliminate the two. Thinking that she had won the match, Nia Jax would pick her up high in the air and dump her unceremoniously outside onto the floor. But as she did so, she hit the floor really hard, with her head hitting the mat first. Number 5. Sasha Banks' somersault plancha flop. We already expressed our dismay at WWE over the booking of this match in our predictions video, but at least we predicted the correct outcome of it, as Sasha Banks would hit the frog splash to get the win. But things weren't so great for Banks during the match, as she nearly managed to outdo Brie Bella's diving flop to the outside. She managed to flip over the top rope, but on the way down she nearly caught her neck on the rope and simply landed on the apron cheeks first. Number 6. I am the table! During the match between Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch, a table was set up in the ring and Flair attempted to moonsault through it, but she managed to land nowhere near it, just brushing Lynch as she performed it. Since there was no contact with the table, it remained intact, though they managed to break it properly, repeating the same spot. And number 7. A little help from the ref. The last women's standing match was a brutal affair, involving all sorts of weaponry with a carnage of tables, ladders and chairs spawned all across the ring. It was in our opinion the best match on the card. Flair would try her absolute best to regain the championship, and it looked close as midway through the match, she managed to lock Becky in a figure 8 through a ladder, weakening her down for a 10 count. Lynch looked like she was doomed, but there was a chair nearby. The only problem was it wasn't close enough to grab. Since this was a planned spot, she needed that chair, and the referee managed to help her a little by nudging the chair slowly over to her. It was a little too obvious that Lynch got some added advantage. Was there any mistakes we missed out? Let us know in the comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.